issue. Yes, that RDP is having some issue. Let me just check the networking part of it. Okay, 3389 port is allowed in that virtual machine. Let me go through that VM3. In the networking, RDP is still allowed. 3389 port. What's the issue? Sometimes it happens. Okay. Maybe we can try after some time. Let me just create another virtual machine. Not requirement of another virtual machine. I can just start this virtual machine itself. Okay. After some time, we will talk about that. Okay. So let it be. And now let's talk about the another load balancer, which is traffic manager. Now, what is the traffic manager? If you observe till now, we have used the load balancer, we use that application gateway. In order to access the load balancer as well as the application gateway, we need to use the IP addresses, right? It's a public IP address. But let's say we required some DNS-based routing. Then what we can do? So the DNS-based routing is not present in that application gateway, as also it is not present in the load balancer. Then in order to do the DNS-based routing, either you can go for the traffic manager or either you can go for the front door. Now, how to do that? So first of all, DNS-based routing means what? Traffic manager in the backend also going for the DNS, not for the IP addresses. If you have only IP addresses, it will not going for that IP addresses. Now, for my virtual machines or for my application gateway and the load balancer, I have only a public IP address. I'm not having any kind of DNS and all. So for this particular reason, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a traffic manager here. Right? This is my traffic manager. And one backend is this and another backend is this. At the end, they will go for these two virtual machines. Now, for this traffic manager, there are 6 routing methods. Why this is a very important, or it is having so many advantages. So most of the time we are going with the traffic manager and the front door because of its 6 routing methods. Now, what are that 6 routing methods? So that part we will going to talk. But first of all, if it's a DNS-based routing, my load balancer and my application gateway is only having a public IP address. It's not having the DNS names. So in order to do that, I can get inside the public IP address. I can get inside the public IP address. Now what I have, so let me just add like this, public IP addresses. So if I'm getting inside that, then this is my application gateway public IP address, and this is my front end IP address, right? Load balancers IP address. So let me just get inside that. So this is my public IP address. But if you get inside the configuration, here you can add a DNS label. For the traffic manager, we cannot add only the public IP address. We need to route it with the DNS labels. So for this particular reason, I can add some DNS label as this one only. Let's copy that and let's put it over here. That's it. Done. See here and save it. So some DNS label should be there in order to route it. And that DNS label will be app gateway -pip and then .eastus.cloudapp.azure.com. See here, it's a cloud app, right? Now again, I'm getting inside my public IP address. I need to add a DNS label for this one as well. So here I can just add some DNS as a front PIP only. So it will become a front PIP eastus.cloudapp.azure.com. So this part is done. Now I'm ready to go for traffic manager. So let's get inside the load balancer and let's open the traffic manager. So first of all, you need to create it. It's a simple one. You need to create a traffic manager. So I can just use the TM load balancer, put the name, and here we have a 6 routing methods. Now, what are the routing methods? Performance. Another one is the wattage. Another one is the priority. Then geography, then multi-value, and then subnet. Now let's list out that. What is that first one? We have a priority, performance, wattage. The first routing method is performance. Is that clear? What we are going to do that? Can I remove this?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about performance. First one is the performance. Second one is what? Wattage. Yes. Weighted. It's a weighted. After that, we have a priority geography. And the last two, multi-value and subnet. Okay. Now let's go with the priority basis. Okay. Anyone you can select it here, or otherwise you can just change it. Okay. Now here I can just choose my load resource group, and then this is a location. By default, it will take it as a East US region, and then just create it. After that, we can add a after that, we can add a backends, which is called as the endpoints, right? So till the deployment, let's talk about these things. Now, what is mean by performance? So if you observe google.com, if I'm accessing a google.com, it will show me the options. Let's say I'm just accessing from the for mobile, let's say mobile phones. So this is a www.google.com. So it will give me that this result, it will give me that news and all these things, languages and all. So these are what? Flipkart.com, Reliance, and all these things are what? These are the kind of Indian, right? Indian searches. So this is the one, Samsung, Reliance Digital, Samsung.com. Here we also have a Flipkart.com. It's a famous one, right? Flipkart.com. We're usually going for that. Reliance Digital. Let's say if I'm searching for the nearest hotels. If I'm searching for the hotels, then it will give me that options, right? Which is nearer to me. Maybe it is regarding with the India region. See here, hotels in hotels.com, India. What is mean by that? So if Azra is present in somewhere. So she can also search for that www.google.com, and she can also put that hotels. Then what she can get? The different searches, not the same searches as me, right? So if I'm present in an India location, so there are, as per the locations, Google has created a multiple servers. So some servers are present in the India location, which searches for that India things and all these things in the database. Another thing, in the UK region, they are having the different server in the UK region, which have that kind of searches, that kind of languages supported with that. Some region is a China region. So I can use a same URL in a different location. And whenever I'm accessing it from the different location, I can get a different searches for the same option, right? So this is what a performance. So let's say one server is present in the India, one server is present in the East US. And if this person is accessing it from the India location, then traffic manager will take that request and it will check which one is the nearest for you. India location is the nearest for you. So it will redirect you to that India location, not to the East US region. If somebody is coming, which is the East US region, then it will check which one is the nearer to you, East US region. Then you will be redirected to the East US. So this is called as a performance. Okay. Now another thing is the wattage or weighted. Weighted means what? If I have two backend servers. So let's say this is my VM1, or I can just say that server 1 and server 2. And this is my traffic manager. Then whenever you can define, let's say there are 5 people are coming over, right? Or I can say the 6 people. So if you are having a wattage, you can decide in the traffic manager which server is having the highest wattage and which server is having the lowest wattage. You can just put that. Okay, let's say I can say that, okay, 80% traffic goes towards this one and 20% going towards this one out of 100. Let's say if I'm saying that 50% traffic going towards this one, 50% traffic going towards this one. Here I have selected that wattage. Then out of the 6 people, 3 people are going for this one and 3 people are going for this one, right? So traffic manager will divide the traffic as per your decision, right? If you are saying that 80% traffic here and only 20% traffic is here, then out of 6, maybe 4 will be going towards this one and 1 or 2 will be going towards this one. So like that, you can define the wattage in that traffic manager. And just remember that wattage. So this option will come in our web application as well. Okay, that time I will again explain it. All right. Now after that, we have a priority. Again, the same thing. If I'm having the server number 1, if I'm having the server number 2, I can define the priority. So priority wise, this will be the first priority and this will be the second priority. Now, what is meant by that priority? If I'm putting it as a first priority, all the traffic is going towards the S1 only. If S1 stopped or it is not available, then and then only your traffic will be going towards S2. Okay. So this is what the priority. Now we also have a geography. Geography is also having the different servers in the different locations. Let's say if I'm having a India location, one server, and we have another server in the East US region, S1 and S2. So here, what is the difference between performance and geography? Performance will check the what is the lowest latency and it will redirect you automatically. But here I can define I can define, this is my choice. If the person, if the user or the request is coming from the India location, I can send it to the East US location. I can do that. If request is coming from the East US region, I can also send it to the East US region, or I can send it to the another region. This is my control. I can decide. This is my decision. So if some request is coming from the India, it will be redirected to the India, or it will be redirected to the other region. So I can define the geography as per my choice. Inbound and outbound, I can just decide, right? Now, after that, we have a multi-value. Multi-value means what? Some of the requests are coming from the IPv4. Some of the requests are coming from the IPv6, right? So, in the backend, maybe some of the servers are working for the IPv4. Some of the servers are working on IPv6. Now, here we have a traffic manager. If request is coming from the IPv4, that request is redirected to the same value, IPv4. If request is coming from IPv6, that request will be redirected to the IPv6 servers. So that is what the multi-value. And the last one, we have it as a subnet. So subnet means what? If I want to control my traffic within a subnet, then I can use a subnet one. So I can define, okay, only this particular subnet can reach out to the traffic manager. Only traffic manager can go for the particular subnet, can access the particular subnet. So I can just define that part, dedicated a subnet. So this is what a dedicated subnet level. Only the virtual machines within that subnet. Okay. So these are the 6 routing methods. Now we have selected a priority as a routing method. So I can just get inside my traffic manager. Let me just refresh my page. So see here, my traffic manager is ready. Now, let's get inside the endpoint. You can change a configuration. So if you have selected the priority or anything, you can change it from here anytime. Real user measurement or anything, I'm not going to talk about that part. So you can just measure that as well. But here we are going to talk about the endpoints. So endpoint is nothing but it's a backend. And what is the front end? So here you will get a front end. See here, DNS name is the front end. So let me just get inside the endpoints, which is the backend one. Let me add the backend. So here I can just add the Azure backend. Or if you have another external endpoints. External endpoints means what? If you want to add some endpoints which is not present in the portal, maybe in the another portal, maybe in the another cloud, you can add that endpoints as well. Or you can just use a nested endpoint. One of the endpoint from the Azure portal, one of the endpoint from the another one, you can use that part as well. So right now I don't have anything, so I can just go with that one Azure endpoint, and then I can just add P1 as an endpoint 1 and see what do you want. Either it is a cloud services or the app services or app services slots. In the web application also we have a slots, or if you want to go with the public IP address. And then here I can use a target service. You see here, I can go with the public IP addresses here, and then here I can choose my address. Now here, if you look into that, there are multiple public IP addresses are also there, but I'm not getting that public IP address. It says that cannot be associated with the traffic manager endpoint. Only these two can associated with that. Why? Because only these two people. Guys, can you please mute?
1, 2, 3, 4, touch screen.
All right, only these two public IP addresses are connected with the DNS, right? So that's why it shows only these two. So let's say if I'm putting it as a front end, so this is having a priority, highest priority 1. or you can just change it and then you can just add it. So front end PIP. So it will always go for the front end. And then another one is the second. I can just put the P2. And here, instead of cloud services, I can use the public IP address. And then application gateway is having that second priority. So the load balancer is having the first priority. Application gateway is having the second priority. That's it, right? Now, if I'm getting inside my overview page, I can just copy that one and then access it. See what? Anyone, I can get that. What is, or you can also search for that. Right, so this is what a DNS best routing. So you can change your DNS names as well, right? Now this part is done. So I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to demonstrate about the front door, but it's a similar as your traffic manager. See here, if you're going to that front door, you can just create that front door and then you can just create it. So if it's looking like the same thing, then what is the reason behind the front door? So the reason behind the front door is, see here, WAF policy. It means your traffic manager, let me just summarize it. So your load balancer, normal load balancer working on the layer number 4, which is the transport layer, right? And it is having the simple one. You can just create an internal or the external or something like that. You can just create it. I'm not going to talk about that part. But your application gateway. Application gateway is having a WAF feature as well as a SSL offloading, right? Another one, your traffic manager. Your traffic manager is having the 6 routing methods and it's a DNS based routing. It's a DNS based routing as well as it has a 6 routing methods. Now front door club the features of application gateway as the traffic as well as the traffic manager together and form a front door, right? So front door is having the features of WAF feature, SSL offloading, as well as the DNS based routing, and as well as it's having the 6 routing methods. So that's why this is a front door. If you all want to demonstrate it, you can just create it as we have created for the traffic manager, as we have created for the application gateway, and then add the backend pools, and that's it, done, right? So it's a similar kind of demonstration. So that's why I'm not going to repeat it. But yes, we do have a discussion about the CDN profile. In some of the modules, we do have a discussion about that. So this part is done regarding with the load balancers, all the load balancers.
Madhvi, I have a question about the front door.
Yes.
So is that an exclusively DNS based routing or the public IP based routing?
No, this is a DNS based routing. And that front door is also having a multiple features as we have it in a CDN networks. Now, what is mean by CDN networks and what is mean by CDN providers? So that part we will going to look in maybe in the last modules. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me just let's take a RDP. Try to take a RDP of it. Yes, it's working. So why not for these virtual machines? Let me just take the RDP of this virtual machine now. This is not working. Okay. Let me just stop this automation first. And then let me just get inside my load balancer and let me just try to take the array here. Mhm. It's not taking that. Okay, let me just figure out what is happening over here. And then we will resolve that because we need to do the same thing in our firewalls as well. This is the target. Okay, let me just take the RDP. Okay, it's working. So target has not done. Maybe it's a misplaced. I just misplaced somewhere the target one. So here I can just use a saloon key and my password. Okay, done. So it's working. Yes, this natural is working properly.
Here, Madhuri, for VM1, we have already public IP, but VM3, we don't have a public IP. Wherein we want to test this NAT actually working or not.
No, 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 not like that. So here, let me just delete it. It's not calling the public IP address to the public IP address. It will call the load balancer's public IP address with the 1000. And your private IP address is connected with that port mapping.
Correct. But and then I'm telling difference here is VM1 is having public IP already, but VM3 don't have public IP. So
Mhm.
that should work actually to see whether exactly it's working or not.
Let me just check because that is the main reason behind the NAT rules.
Yes, it's correct.
If it is not having a private public IP address, then again we can access it. So let's check.
VM3, I think we are trying for VM3. This
So
we
this
want to
is
do
my
for VM3.
VM3. This is my IP address. This is my front end. Okay, this is my port number 1002. Let's say 1002, and backend port will be 3389. That's it.
Actually, it should identify once deployed, it should identify the VM3 as a target.
Yes.
When that will be successful, then only we'll be able to connect.
Mhm. And also, I just need to clarify one thing. If I'm creating a virtual machine in an availability zone, because I haven't selected that availability zone for that VM. If I'm creating it, Okay, so the time we will see that. Okay, now it's saying that target 1, VM1. Okay, let me just take the RDP. Let me just cancel it.
So can we take a RDP of VM? Just
Yes, let's see that. Instead of 1001,
it's 1002.
PM3, right?
Yeah.
So 1002 now. Now it's working.
Now it's going.
Now it's going. Maybe something is happened last time. I have to put.
Like
Uh,
maybe some.
ah, yes, you can take that.
So in load balancer, what is the default algorithm for the balancing? Is it
What?
what? Plain load balancer, not application gateway.
Mhm. If you are talking about the load balancer,
In load balancer, what is the default algorithm for load balancing?
what is the default
Algorithm.
assumption?
Algorithm.
Algorithm. Okay. So I think it's working with the round robin.
Okay.
Yes, in the back end, and it will just go randomly. We cannot, we cannot control that.
But this is default and only one option available, or we can change also.
Regarding with the algorithm,
Yeah.
you cannot change it. It's a by default for the
Okay.
load balancer.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Cool. We can take the RDP of it by using that NAT rule. Okay. Perfect. So this part is done. I don't want this virtual machine. So let me just do, okay. Let me just do one thing. Let me just remove that resource group, whole resource group. Because it's 13 rupees, 13 rupees. We have 4 virtual machines like that. So let me just remove that RG. All right. Done. So cool. We have done with the load balancer part. Okay. So the next part will be firewall, or otherwise we will going to talk about the VPN gateways.